Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is Super Fanboy Guy again, and in this video, I am bringing you another Versus System deck profile. And in this video, we're going to show the Avengers Reservist. It's a random punks deck. Now, for some of you that may not know what random punks means, is it's a deck that only has commons and uncommons in it. And this Avengers deck focuses a lot on. It's another aggressive deck that focuses on getting a bunch of powerful characters out on the field and trying to hit your opponent for some decent amount of damage in the face. And if any of you saw my live stream from July, this is actually one of the decks that my buddy Alessandro played. But in this video, I'm going to go more detail about the cards a little bit and, just talk about what they do. And, I will also, in the video, if you wanted to add some rares to the deck to make it a little bit more powerful, I'll also talk about, towards the end of the video, what you can add to make it a little bit better. But also, I want to mention that all the characters, since it is Avengers Reservist, all characters in the deck have the Reservist ability, which means you can play them in the resource row face down and you're still able to recruit them. And so that's about pretty much the introduction of the deck. It's pretty straightforward. Oh, I also forgot to mention there's some cards in the deck that gain benefits when team attacking too. So we'll kind of go over those cards individually. But that's kind of the introduction of the deck. And let's go ahead and get started and do a breakdown of each individual card. Okay, starting off with the one-cost characters, we have 4 copies of Iron Fist, Secret Avenger, and 2 copies of Rick Jones, A Hero's Best Friend. Iron Fist, he's a 2-1, and when he comes into play, you rally for a character card. Now, for some of you that don't know what rally means, it pretty much says, it says what it does, is you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's the rally card of the chosen type, in this case, for him, it's a character, you put it in your hand. So when you play him, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character, you add him to your hand. Otherwise, it'll just go on the bottom of your deck. So, he's a pretty good, he's a 2-1, which is pretty good stats, and the ability to get another card in your hand is always good. And Rick Jones, what he does is you may discard an Avengers character card rather than pay Rick Jones recruit costs. Activate, return Rick Jones to his owner's hand. Target defender you control has reinforcement this attack. So he's really good on if you're playing against, let's say, another aggressive deck, and that way you don't take any extra damage from breakthrough when your opponent's characters attack. So it's kind of a situational card, but he's good on the defense because there might be a time where you may not want to take a lot of damage. So if you can prevent that damage by reinforcing one of your defenders, then it might be worth it. So that's why we run 2 copies of him. Moving along with the 2-cost characters, we play 4 copies of Captain America, the Patriot, Secret Avenger, 2 copies of Echo Ronin, Secret Avenger, 2 copies of Hawkeye Ronin, Secret Avenger, and 4 copies of Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, Super Spy. Captain America, when he enters play, rally for a character card. If you're successful, put a +1/+1 counter on each character you control. Just a good utility card to try to give all your characters +1/+1 counters to, add extra attack. And he's actually really better if you're on like turn 4 or 5 and you have a couple of characters out on the field already. So it's good to, try to give +1/+1 counters to as many of your characters as possible. And the Echo Ronin, Secret Avenger, is if you would rally Echo into your hand, instead you may put her into play if you don't control a character named Echo. So, like with all of our effects with rallying characters to our hand, if we rally her to our hand, she's just an extra character to have on the field. 2/3, I wish it had a little bit higher attack, but I guess that's the trade-off you get for having a higher defense on the card. So that's why we only run 2 copies of her, because it could be kind of a situational card. You may not always hit her when you rally for the character card. That's why I thought 2 would be a good number for this deck. And then Hawkeye Ronin, whenever he enters play, you rally for a character card. If you're successful, you may KO target character with cost 1 or less. Just a good way to remove some of your opponent's 1-cost characters. There's really no disadvantage over that. And so Black Widow, what she does is while she is team attacking, whenever she stuns a defender, you may stun target character with cost 3 or less. Now, her ability is really good to hit, like, let's say your opponent has some concealed cards that you just can't hit. And with this Black Widow, it doesn't state that whether the character that costs 3 or less, it could be a concealed character or a visible character. So if you, for an example, if you team attack and you want to hit their concealed Barbara Gordon Oracle, and you can't hit him, or sorry, you can't hit her through regular attacks because she's concealed. Well, this effect, if you team attack with against the visible character, you could stun that Barbara Gordon Oracle, just as an example of a target you can have. But that is it for the 2-cost characters. So going forward with the 3-cost characters, we play 3 copies of Black Panther T'Challa and 4 copies of Quicksilver Mutant Avenger. Black Panther, when he enters play, you may reveal any number of face-down resources you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Black Panther for each reservist card you revealed. So if you play him on turn 3 and you have, let's say, 3 reservists in your resource row, you can reveal those 3 when you put him to play, so he becomes a 7/6 on turn 3. Now, the only downside with him is he is concealed, so he has to go into the hidden area. But obviously, a 7 attack for turn 3 is pretty decent, so that's why we run 3 copies of Black Panther. Now, Quicksilver, what he does is whenever a defender becomes stunned by 1 or more team attackers you control, you ready Quicksilver. So, you get another attacker in. If you get to ready him, that's pretty much all he's good for. But obviously, if they find a way to stun him back, you can't ready him after the attack. But he's still, 4/5 on turn 3 is still pretty decent. So that's why we run 4 copies of him. And going on with the 4-cost characters, we run 4 copies of Carol Danvers Warbird, Galactic Adventurer, and 4 copies of Hawkeye Clint Barton. Warbird has an effect that while she is team attacking, whenever she stuns a defender with cost 5 or less, return that defender to its owner's hand. Now, that ability is pretty good in case of, sometimes returning a character to their hand is better than just KOing them. Because let's say they have only one 5-drop character and you stun it. Well, as the game rule states, during the recovery phase, you're allowed to recover 1 character on the field. But if you're able to return that one, maybe they have that only 1 character in hand, and you're able to return their hand, well, it's like they lost the character on the field. So that's why she's kind of good in that sense, because if you team attack, you could maybe potentially return the 1 character in their hand. I can't think off the top of my hand what character they would only have 1 copy of on turn 5, but there's a couple of characters, maybe like a Doctor Doom card or something like that. But yeah, so that's why we run her. And then Hawkeye, Clint Barton, he has an ability, activate stun any number of target characters with total cost 2 or less. So if you exhaust him, you could stun like 1 2-drop character or 2 1-drop characters, depending on what the field is. So if you're playing like a heavy army deck where they're running like a bunch of wild sentinels, you can actually activate him, and if they have 2 wild sentinels on the field, you can stun both of them. So, and he's an 8 attack on a turn 4, which is pretty decent. I think there's some other better stats, but you lose the extra attack power with his ability. But yeah, it's still a good utility card just in case if you're playing against like a army deck. And the 5-cost characters, we have 4 copies of She-Hulk Gamma Bombshell and 2 copies of Submariner Namor. She-Hulk has an ability, replace a reservist resource you control. She-Hulk gains a vulnerability. This attack use this power only once per turn. So invulnerability is pretty much you don't take the stun damage on the threshold cost when a character gets stunned. So it could be good, like if you're attacking into a 7/7 character and you're going to get stunned back, you can replace a reservist and still have her get stunned, but you would also take no damage. So it can actually be good on the attack or the defense, depending on what's on your opponent's side on the field and what plays they've made already. So it really depends on that. And Submariner, what he does is he has a leader ability. Now, somebody with leader usually has an ability that gives special bonuses to characters adjacent to him, so that's kind of what leader does. In this case, characters adjacent to Submariner get +1 attack, And whenever a character adjacent to Submariner stuns a character during the combat phase, you may replace a resource you control. So if you use the plot twist and you have a face-up resource, if one of your characters stuns, a character with him being adjacent, you can replace, that face-up plot twist that you already used, and maybe you get like another face-down plot twist, or maybe you need another reservist character. But yeah, sometimes he may not, if you don't have the initiative on turn 5, playing him when you don't have the initiative, it could be kind of rough. But that's why we only run 2 copies, because his ability is really good if you're on the initiative. Moving on to the 6 cost characters, we only run 1 character, and that's 4 copies of Wonder Man Simon Williams. Now, he is a very powerful piece in the deck because he has a really good ability, which is when Wonder Man comes to play, you may reveal up to 5 face-down resources you control. You may stun a target character if its cost is less than the number of reservist cards you revealed. So the most you can hit with this ability is a 4-cost character. So you reveal 5 reservists, and then you can stun a 4-drop character. And he has flight and range, which is pretty decent if you want to attack some of those protected characters, or just a really good card in general. Finishing off with the characters, we move on to our 7-cost characters, which we run 4 copies of Hercules, Son of Zeus. He has loyalty and reservist, so you have to have an Avengers character out on the field to play him. But his ability is reveal 3 face-down reservist resources you control. Ready Hercules. Hercules cannot cause breakthrough while attacking characters this turn. Use this power only once per turn. So his ability makes him so he's able to attack twice. And here's the interesting thing you should know about him. When you use his ability to ready him, and it says he cannot cause breakthrough while attacking characters this turn, the important thing to remember with this card is if your opponent has no characters on their side of the field, or all of his characters are stunned, he can attack a player directly and still cause breakthrough. So that could potentially be another 16 points of damage, directly to your opponent's endurance total, depending on if they have no characters out on the field. And that's why we have some of the other characters that return your opponent's characters back to their hand, specifically to kind of set up for this card a little bit. But yeah, he's the powerhouse of the deck, and just a great card to have. So now we're going to go on with our plot twist, starting with the 1-cost plot twist. We run 4 copies of Call Down the Lightning and 3 copies of Heroes in Reserve. Call Down the Lightning is as an additional cost to play Call Down the Lightning. Replace a reservist resource you control. Target attacker you control gets +3 this attack. If you replace an Avengers character card, that attacker also gets +3 defense this attack. So it's just good to add extra attack and defense while you're attacking, since we have the idea of the deck is to deal as much point of damage to our opponent and, try to kill them as fast as possible. It's just good for that. And then Heroes in Reserve is reveal any number of face-down resources you control. Target attacker or defender you control gets +X attack this attack, where X is the number of reservists cards you revealed that you revealed. So what this card does is, if you have 5 reservists on turn 5, that's +5 attack. If you have 6 reservists on turn 6, that's +6 attack. But it could be on the attack or defense. So if you need to stun back their character while you're on the defense for some reason, you can use it for that. But just very powerful, card that adds attack. So yeah, and yeah, there's nothing else to say about it. It's just a really good card. And moving forward with the 2-cost plot twist, we have 3 copies of Legendary Battles and 3 copies of the Big 3. Legendary Battles, while team attacking this turn, Avengers characters you control get +1 attack and cannot be stunned. So extra attack, and they can't be stunned while attacking, just seems like a fine card. And then the Big 3 is target Avengers character gets +2 attack while attacking this turn. Now, what boost is it's an effect that you can do as you play the card. In this case, the boost effect is replace 2 reservist resources you control. Up to 2 other target Avengers characters get +2 attack while attacking this turn. So this card says if you boost it by replacing 2 reservist resources, you can get a total of +6 attack. So And remember that you can attack with one person and then flip over this card and activate the boost and give other two non-attacking characters the +2 attack and it says for the turn. So you can do it whenever you feel is necessary. You can also activate it if you're team attacking with 3 characters and you just need the extra attack for whatever reason. But it's a very versatile card, and yeah, just good and getting those hits, like I said, and yeah, just a great card. Nothing else to say about it. So that concludes our Avengers Reservist Random Punks deck. Now, I do want to kind of go over some other things with the deck. So generally this deck costs about $40 to make, which is really cheap. And this is just using commons and uncommons. If you wanted to upgrade some of the cards in the deck, you could play cards like, if you wanted to update it with rares, that is. You can play Avengers Assemble, which is a really good search card that helps you get the characters that you need on time. You can also play Savage Beatdown to, get extra attack in. But also importantly, you can play Avengers Mansion, which is a location that is able to, provide more power to your characters and, just able to, and I think if I remember, Avengers Mansion is attack or defense. So you can add attack power when you're attacking or when you're defending. And then another rare you could add in this, if you wanted to, you could take out some of the 1-cost characters and put in the 1-drop Jarvis. And he's also just another card to help you search for, other Avenger cards that you might need and stuff like that. And I don't know if there's anything else that I can think of that other rares you can add to the deck to make this better. But that's just kind of like the general deck for this. But I think that'll do it for this deck. So if you guys have any changes that you would make to the deck, make sure to leave them in the comments of the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Versus System content. And hope you all enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.